Grandma Debbie here. So today we're going to make oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. Now I generally don't bake in the summer because it's really hot. Like today we're supposed to be 110 and I usually don't do very well in the heat. I can handle about 105, but once it gets past that I'm like, I'm dying. But I want to make some cookies for my daughter. Her birthday was last month, and I didn't make her anything for her birthday, so I want to surprise her this weekend with some cookies. So I'm going to make her some, and you're going to come along for the journey with me. So let's get started. All right, here we go. So first off, we're going to add some flour. I'm going to change out my bowls. So first we're going to take our flour. I've got 1.5 cups of flour here. So we're going to add our flour. And then we're going to add our cinnamon. And I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Add this together. And then I'm going to add baking soda, and it is 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then I'm going to add the salt, and it is 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now it asks for sea salt, but I'm going to use pink salt. Once again, it's because I like the flavor of pink salt. But you use whatever kind of salt you have or whatever salt you like to use. Okay, and then I'm just going to stir it and mix it together. Okay, so it's all mixed up and now, my daughter doesn't like cake, and I thought her coworkers were going to do something for her, and they did. I thought they were going to get her cookies, because that's what she likes, but they actually got her cake instead. And so, when I found out that they didn't get her cookies, I felt bad that I didn't make her any. So that's why I'm making her some, because she's coming over for dinner tomorrow night, and I wanted to make for sure that I had some cookies to give her. Okay, so now I'm going to swap bowls, and we're going to cream together the other ingredients. So I have my butter sitting out at room temperature, so it's nice and soft. So I'm going to use a cup of butter. And so it's all nice and really soft and gooey. Now this cookie recipe does have to go into the refrigerator for an hour. So we're going to have to regroup after it sits in there for an hour and get back together. Okay, so I got my butter in there, and I'm going to add sugars. So you're going to use a cup of light brown sugar, and then you're going to use a 1/4 cup of regular sugar. And I'm going to beat these until they're fluffy, and it's going to take about 3 minutes. Okay, so this is pretty fluffy. So now we're going to add 2 eggs, and we're going to do them one at a time. All right? Whoa, almost lost an egg. I got to tell you guys a story. So the last time I was making something and I needed an egg, I got the eggs out of the refrigerator and I set them on the counter. And everything was going along great. And then I went to go move the eggs, and one of them fell on the floor. And oh my gosh, I thought for sure that they had broken, and I didn't want to look down because I knew I was going to have a big egg mess on the floor. Well, I did not. It didn't break. I was so surprised. So I don't know what kind of eggs we got, but clearly they were some sort of bionic egg or something. All right, so after each egg, I'm going to beat for a little bit. All right, I got one more egg to add. Okay, now I'm going to add the vanilla. So my husband and I, we make our own vanilla, and it's really quite simple to make your own. All you do is you get some vodka. We get the cheap vodka from Costco, and then we get vanilla beans, and we just order our vanilla beans from Amazon. And then you put the vanilla, you run a slit down the vanilla, and you put it inside the vodka bottle, and you let it sit. We let it sit for about a year, and then we put it into smaller bottles such as this, and we give them out as gifts, or we keep them for ourselves. So let's see, I'm going to need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And then I'm going to mix it back up again. Okay, and then I'm going to add the flour slowly. So I'm going to add a little bit at a time while I'm mixing it. Okay, so now I'm going to add the chocolate chips and the oatmeal. And then I'm going to mix it all up. And the oatmeal was 3 cups of oatmeal and 2 cups of chocolate chips. And then I'm just going to stir it until it's all combined. And then, like I said, this has to sit in the refrigerator for an hour. So we will get back after it's been sitting for an hour. We'll get back together and we'll do a little baking. But let me get this all mixed together. So back to my story about the egg. So it fell on the floor and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have this humongous mess. So I kept telling myself, don't look down, don't look down, don't look down, because you don't want to know how bad it is. But of course I had to look down. So then finally I looked down and I was like, oh my gosh, it didn't break. But there was no egg there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck happened to the egg? Where is it? Well, the egg had rolled under the cabinet. And then so I had to bend down and pick up the egg, and I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be cracked. So I'm gently picking up this egg, and there was no crack either. So once again, I'm thinking, wow, what kind of egg is this that we bought? I was just amazed. I was so surprised that it didn't break, didn't have a crack, nothing. And then I thought, wow, this must have been some hardy chickens that laid that egg, because it should have cracked, it should have done something. It should have busted all over the floor. And I was not looking forward to cleaning up a mess on the floor. I was not looking forward to cleaning up egg. All I wanted to do was just make whatever I was making and be done with it. But so I was happy that it did not. Whew, this is a real kind of party thing here. Okay. So you can also switch out the chocolate chips if you want for raisins, if you'd rather go that route. All right, so I'm gonna get this in the refrigerator and we will meet back, and I'm gonna clean up my mess, and we'll meet back in an hour. All right, thanks for coming along. So I will see you in an hour. Okay, so it's been an hour, or a little more than an hour, and I've gotten it out of the refrigerator. I've got the oven preheating. I've lined a couple baking sheets with parchment paper, and we're gonna get going. Now, in full disclosure, you're gonna see that the sink still has dishes in it. I didn't clean up very much. I just tossed all the dishes in the sink. I'll get to it after I'm done making cookies all the way. All right, so let's get going. So I'm gonna use a small scoop for the cookies, and I'm hoping that they're gonna come out. It's kind of a little on the cold side. My refrigerator seems to be really cold. So we're gonna put them on here about 2 inches apart from each other because they are gonna spread. So I'm gonna do whoops. We're gonna spread out a little bit. So I'm gonna one nice thing about parchment paper is you can kind of move things around a little bit. Isn't that nice? So, some of them are going to probably be a little bit bigger, but that's okay. Who doesn't like a bigger cookie, right? So they're going to go into the oven once it's preheated. They're going to go in the oven for 10 minutes, and then you're going to cool them on the cookie sheet for 5 minutes. Come out of there. Okay, and then after they're cold, you're going to put them on a cooling rack until they're completely cold. And then you're going to enjoy them, however you want to enjoy them. Eat them however you like. Okay. All right, so I got the first rack done, and I'm going to start on the second one. After I get these in the oven. I'm not sure how many cookies these make because my scoop's not uniform, so I can't really tell you. But it makes a couple dozen. which is plenty for what I'm needing it to do. Come on, get in there. And if your dough does get to be too thick to work with, you can always put it back in the refrigerator to get cold again. So don't be afraid to do that. And like I said, my cookies are not uniform. I'm not a baker by any means. So, you know, my husband usually is the one that does the baking in the family. And he does an amazing job. I do the best I can. But, oh well, it is what it is. As long as I have some for my daughter, who cares how many I end up with, right? Okay, so I've got those going, and as soon as the oven is warmed up, we will get them both in the oven. Come out of the oven, I'll show you what they're going to look like. Okay, so the first batch is out of the oven, and it's sat for 5 minutes, waiting to cool up. And now I'm going to take them off and put them on the cooling rack so they can continue on cooling. They look absolutely delicious, so I am going to also try one because, like I said, they look delicious. And then I'm going to load up another tray and get those in the oven and get going on the rest. And then I will show you when they're all completed. I will show you the completed tray. Kind of spread out a little bit, but that's okay. You know. When you make homemade cookies, they're not, or at least not mine, are not uniform by any means. So they look absolutely delicious. So I'm going to try this small one. Ooh, it's nice and warm, and gooey. Now I need a glass of milk. It is really good. Alright, so I'm going to keep on going. And then I'll show you the finished product.